This is webinar Wednesday 2505, 3 smart ways to save time on infrastructure testing and maintenance. We are Trend Networks Academy, your trusted knowledge partner for all data network technicians and maintenance professionals. Our solutions provide proof of performance, and we remove the guesswork when installing and maintaining commercial network systems. In this webinar, we're going to spotlight, again, we're trying to keep it simple, 3 smart ways to save time on infrastructure testing and maintenance. We welcome questions. We'd love feedback. So please do use our chat line. Add your email. That helps us get back to you quicker. And we're going to be available after this to answer your questions. Okay, so let's get started. As businesses embrace remote networking and the digital transformation continues, cloud adoption is surging. Some of the numbers are by 2025, they anticipate 60% of corporate data is expected to reside in the cloud. This is kind of the theme today, and a very important theme. With so much riding on this data and efficiency, it's essential your testing tools and reporting platforms are as agile. Okay, so in this session, we're going to look at this. We're going to look at how this is important, how this helps you, how we help your business. Governments, corporates, businesses continue to embrace cloud connectivity. We're aware of it. If we say the word cloud, people know what this means. It is about time-based efficiency. We're going to share that it's now possible to seamlessly integrate cloud solutions across your complete infrastructure testing and maintenance operations. To some of us, this is not new, but let's take a deeper dive to see what else we can do and why this is important. What are the benefits? Does it really help your business? And kind of how? So we're going to share some real-time efficiencies. We're going to cover off all this. I'm sure you're very, very familiar with a lot of this, but let's pull all this together. We're going to unify your installation and service operations. Trend Anywhere Cloud. I want to share to you that Trend Networks has developed the most advanced cloud system. We've listened to the market, we've talked with users, and we've really looked ahead. And our solution encompasses certification, qualification, verification. I'm going to share to you that this system is ready for the digitally connected business age. And let's find out how that helps. So again, as installers, operation managers, and people involved in daily businesses, time is critical. And these are some of the issues that we hear time and time again, and challenges. Typically, most project managers face the usual thing of available equipment. So if we're looking at infrastructure testing, we would expect that you have to have the person, a skilled person, and we add the tester to them. And of course, available time to test. That gets a bit tricky if you're managing both cable installation and network service needs. So some of us may focus just on cable installation. Some of us may do the service side. So imagine doing both of those problems together, having available equipment across those teams. And then there's test setup, reducing errors on site, and of course, there's more. The second part is transfer of data once you've got it. We see lost data constantly coming up as an issue, with USB sticks being lost on site. Report creation, when they go to finally build a report, we see lots of lost time across editing the data that's sent back and matching the data. This is a real problem. So these are all the issues that we hear time and time again, and we're going to solve these and share some solutions with you today. Sending large files, things as simple as that, are still a problem to send USB sticks off or choking up people's inboxes. Storing data, that's always been a problem. Do we trust the cloud or not, or what do we do? But storing data is important. And lastly, as people become more and more skilled, they need to be everywhere. Project managers have got multiple jobs, from helping teams, arranging teams, checking and delivering. They need to be everywhere. Let's try and get you some solutions to these challenges. But the bottom line is, businesses or business operations in general, are time sensitive. And where time is revenue, this is important. So we're going to talk about time and time efficiencies today. We're going to really help you and share how simple this can be once we unify people. But the most important thing is time is revenue. So to manage that approach, managing how best we can develop efficiency, we can break it down into three areas, three critical areas to improve efficiency. Hopefully this makes sense because I'm sure you're dealing with this daily, day in and day out. Pre-planning. So if we look at pre-planning, as simple for infrastructure would be, do I have available equipment? And when is my available time to test? Typically, you're matching people to equipment and making sure it's available. Pre-planning. Progress on jobs. Making sure once the job started, making sure that data is working, the test set up, and then the transfer of that data. And lastly, finalizing jobs, getting that data in, seeing what it's like and matching it and getting that back out. So pre-planning, progress on jobs, and finalizing jobs. Three critical areas. If we look at businesses, and this is a challenge for all of us businesses, they typically have the same approach. Businesses, when they drive efficiency, they typically look at setting clear goals and objectives. They then would look at streamlined processes. They typically also look at leveraging latest technologies. They utilize those sorts of newer technologies, emerging technologies, to gain an advantage. So this is exactly what we're going to do here today. We're going to focus on items 2 and 3 and show you how Tran Networks helps in these areas. We can streamline processes and we can leverage on the latest technologies. So what does that mean? And what is this change that we're talking about today? Everybody knows about the cloud. This is nothing new. But what is actually happening if we look at some of the studies out there, and this is just one of the many, is that we really have changed. We're seeing 84, in this particular bit of data, we're seeing 84% of companies anticipated to use private cloud services. And still many of us are kind of reluctant to move that way. Another point that came up in this study was 60% of all corporate data is expected to reside in cloud storage. So it really means we have changed. We are changing and adopting the cloud. So if you're already using it, I'm sure you're well aware. If you're not using it as yet, we can see that this change has already started and we're very much progressing. In fact, our needs have evolved. Our working environment has changed to all of us. We have a variety of, not just one or two, we have different types of devices. Laptops, iPads, phones, and different brands, across different brands from Mac to iBook. They're all different types of products and we need the ability to be everywhere. However, some of the existing cloud systems, and they're out there now, there's some of the other products which are out there, do work quite efficiently. And what they do is they rely on software, so this is other systems out there, rely on software to be downloaded to a desktop. And in the end, the user finds himself working from one particular area, from one particular device, which is actually fine. And then maybe a cable will go back to it to move that data back to that person. So that's quite popular and quite efficient. But in the end, that person is stuck at one area. He can't collaborate across teams, and it does slow down the workflow. So that is some of the cloud technology out there. So what other devices do, they introduce USB sticks. And USB sticks can be helpful. They can be very, very useful. However, with the advent of USB sticks, we have some of these other challenges introduced. So they could introduce viruses into some businesses. They could pose a data theft, as some USB sticks are not allowed on site as they may be used to steal data. And lastly, using sticks could mean complete loss of data. If a stick's lost, it's gone for good. So this is a challenge. The traditional methods out there right now have these fundamental challenges. So you may ask yourself, if you're using some of those traditional methods, how cloud enabled are you? So this is what we're sharing today with some solutions. So do you have the freedom to work from anywhere? Can you view your available tests? In fact, can you unify your community? Let's have a look and get you some answers. So again, across these three critical areas, let's start breaking down this in a very simple solution. So if we look at available equipment and available time to test, we would like to introduce again why we developed the Trend Anywhere Cloud. It truly is the latest and most advanced solution available today. Real-time collaboration helps you connect and unify both an installation team and a network service team. So as a project manager, you can work out where your equipment is and join those teams. You can centralize, for example, a verification group of testers. These are just simple verifiers which would just go in and do the first connection. Your certification team, they could then come in after that and certify. And lastly, you could have your network installation team manage the network. So this is how the whole suite works together. So that's one of the methods of unifying the team, critical for report management and project management. Very simple. Imagine a fleet manager, which you can very quickly in one click see, is all of my equipment calibrated? Is the software up to date? And of course, sometimes in some sites where you've got site A, site B, where was it last synced? By the way, where is it? You could see the last location. So very, very helpful to get your equipment checked and know what's available. Okay. You can have one community, one database, and where you can then bring on users. So one account to manage everything, bring on people and have those teams password enabled. So once again, unification. You can work across any device, laptop, iPad, phone, or MacBook. And in some cases, people use contractors. Those contractors may have their own devices, their own systems, from Apple to Android. And this can be restrictive to some businesses, but not in this case. Work across any device, anywhere, anytime. So hopefully we can see that that's pre-planning stage, available equipment and accessing your data ticked. So we've got that solution ticked. What about the next one? So progress on jobs, managing the test setup and transfer of data. Let's have a look at that. So the cloud, and we're all familiar with the cloud, what it does, but if we think about how we can utilize the time efficiency, this is how amazing it is. If you've got a tester, you could be anywhere in the world and you could pretty much go in and set up your data on your job, start your job, complete your job, and you can upload that. So you could be anywhere, anytime, any place in the world, and that data could be sent from that tester straight up to the cloud, and your project manager can see it. Or, as an alternative, a project manager could be at any time, any place in the world, anywhere, and work off any device. He could create a job, send that to the tester, where the installer may work on the job, process the data, and send it back. So this is truly freeing up your ability to be anywhere and work at any time. The other things project managers need is to be able to manage sometimes a list, a BOM of bill of materials, or something like a large project spec might come through. Some of those specs, some of those data builds could have a series of different increments, numbers, and cable IDs. They're quite awful. We can take that pain away by very simply grabbing that data, putting it into a very simple XLS or CSV. That data can be uploaded and synced to the tester in very simple steps, time saving to merge that data. And most importantly, we keep that data matching the original BOM. So when you supply it back to the end customer, everything matches. A real perfect outcome. So let's talk about that. That's minimizing editing mistakes. So some of these mistakes are extremely costly in time and matching data. So what does this mean? The cloud enables you to pre-configure jobs. If we allow two technicians or any multiple of technicians to name and label a job, they typically come up with different ID or ways of identifying that particular cable. I've got one example on screen right now where it's very simple. They've labeled the same thing and it's quite hard to see, but there's actually a space missing. So rather than using a dash, they've just used a space. And that can cause an issue when you get your test data back to match it. Next one is standard selection. The great news about the Lentic Force solution is that it measures across a complete sweep across all standards. So you may recertify later, but again, why not remove the need to recertify by getting your standard selection right the first time? So pre-configured data, pre-configure your standard selection, and you can add PoE at that time and point. Again, the amazing LANTech 4 solution will also sweep and capture PoE first time every time, but you could have that selected right from the get-go by pre-configuration. Time saving with pre-configuration. Okay, so what does that mean, this recertification? We also have the ability that if someone has done a test, the LANTech platform as the hardware will sweep from 1 to 500 megahertz or 1 to 3000 megahertz, depending on which LANTech you've received. And should that person not pay attention and pretty much use the last test standard, for example, this one is a Cat5e, because the tester sweeps across the complete range from, again, 1 to 500 megahertz or 1 to 3000 megahertz, your choice, we collect the real data first time, every time. No extrapolation. So you may go back to the cloud and you can recertify with the real collected data first time, every time. Okay, so time-saving efficiencies. Again, that recertification is critical because you do not have to go back to the site. So let's tick through this. So option 1, tick, we've done that. Option 2, progress and jobs and data transfer, done. Let's look at the last one. We've got a couple of neat solutions for you in the last one. Let's have a look at that. So real-time saving ability of sending that data and finalizing your reports. So sometimes reports can be broken into different groups. So what we have in the Trend Networks Cloud is the ability to break down a project into various parts, floors, building floor, level, and patch panel. You can drag and drop. You can also do a find and replace. So just say someone did have a dash and you would like a dash to be a forward slash. Imagine you could say find dashes, make them forward slashes. And that could match exactly what your customer's expecting. So very, very simple to do, very quick to do. Again, we're giving you some time-saving functionality. How about sending large files? This can trip us up. After all that time, you put all your data together and the file's massive. What a problem. In fact, you can add photos into the cloud as well, a part of your job. In this case, you very simply add your client's email address and he gets a download capability. He can download directly from the cloud, okay? And you can manage that anytime you need. So sending large files made simple. We're almost there. I just want to add to the last one. One very interesting challenge for all project managers, they're very, very skilled. In fact, all business owners have the same challenge, is the need to be everywhere. Sometimes your team needs a helping hand. Well, a part of the cloud solution, as well as the testing platform across some of the network testers and the certification platform, is the inbuilt Teams viewer. Perfect solution to be able to connect in live. What does that mean? You could configure a job live or check the diagnostics on screen as shown in this picture, or you could just help someone through what's going on live. So the need to be anywhere is a big tick, so we've solved that for you. So I hope you can see this truly is an amazing solution. So we're just going to wrap up now. Thank you so much for joining us. So cloud connecting teams, let's just summarize this, that why it's so important is we're going to unify your installation and service teams. That's bringing those two groups together, okay? Allowing you real-time project management to manage and interact with your job anywhere off any device. Pre-planning, taking the pain out of your jobs and pre-configuring. We can then do fast, reliable testing. I mentioned about that sweeping from 0 to 500 megahertz, capturing all that data, or 1 to 3000 megahertz, capturing everything. Fleet management, knowing what you've got. And lastly, the live support being everywhere. Okay, so this truly is an amazing system. So once again, this platform is a world leader. Think about this as the fundamental part that you need as you move towards a digitized, connected business to unify your complete system. We really do save you time with Trend Anywhere Cloud. Thank you so much for joining us, and please do join our webinar. We'll see you again soon. Any questions? We're around to take them. Looking forward to helping you out.